So Kyle just told you that he works at Papa John's and he likes filling the Pepsi container. What else you do? Pizza boxes? What do you do in the cooler? The cooler and fluff the cheese, right? And clean out the pans under the ovens in the morning. And some other stuff.
So what did you do for work before you worked at Papa John's? What were you doing? Do you remember?
I remember sorting clothes. You put things on hangers.
So, Bill, what was your biggest concern about Kyle moving into a community job?
They're number one, I use the word comfortable all the time, became very comfortable that he had a place to go every day. He earned a little money, and I knew he was safe. And, as a parent, especially with Kyle, who doesn't have excellent verbal skills, needs that support there all the time. So it's kind of a letting go. And, so that was probably the biggest thing that held me back. It was others that motivated me to look further. And I feel like now I can repay that by motivating others that it is possible. So other family members, and I get it, and I think that helps when they hear that from me that I've been there too. So anybody tells a story about anything, it's always good to have somebody that has been through the process.
Can you talk a little bit about how you learned about other options for Kyle?
So I was involved in the Developmental Disability Council a few years back. I think it was about 2013, and was challenged by somebody, what about competitive integrated employment? And I wasn't quite sure what that meant or how to do it. And I think I actually threw my notepad down and said, okay, what do I do? Go to Voc Rehab and say, here, give them a job, And they said, well, can we kind of use them as a guinea pig? And I said, sure, and I sign you up for all kinds of things, don't I, Kyle? But Kyle was involved in the process as well, so it wasn't just, I was going to say, you're going to do this. We talked about it, and he really found his own job because it was somebody that he knew. It just sort of coincided at the same time. In fact, the employer was ready for Kyle before the system and paperwork were ready to start job coaching and that process. So if I have any criticism, it's that we need to speed up that process. Because if the employer is ready, they want you day one. They don't want you to wait a couple months, and that's not really competitive integrated employment either. So I think we have to do some work within our systems.
But in Kyle's case, they were willing to wait?
They did indeed. And it wasn't too long, and he went in and helped out a few days here and there just to kind of get familiar with the surroundings, but the job coaching has really been helpful. And that took a couple years to get really in a good place with that as well, where there was a routine schedule. It was sort of hit and miss for the first 2 years. Over the first 2 years, there was a little inconsistency in terms of how often he was there. There was no real concrete schedule, but now we've sort of graduated into that where he has a good schedule and the job coaches are consistent, and so we've really got a much better organization in terms of how his day goes.
What do you tell your friends and family when you're talking about your job at Papa John's?
Talk about Sam and Dave. You have fun at work, don't you? Do you have fun at work? Do you mess with Dave sometimes? Yeah.
How about when you get that paycheck? What do you do with your paycheck?
Goes to McDonald's. you're saving money too, aren't you? In your AWO account.
Are you saving up for something special?
Where would you like to go on vacation?
Phoenix.
Phoenix. We have family there, don't we?
Is there anything you know now that you wish you had known when Kyle was in high school?
That it was a possibility, and that some school systems are actually engaging in real work activities versus just sort of deciding that the best place is sheltered work because that's where they'll get the training. Sheltered workshop was great, as I said, for him. It was a safe place, but it didn't really train him to do what he's doing now. So I think he could have very easily stepped right into that right after high school, if not before. A lot of kids work while they're in high school, and we'd be that much further along now.
Anything you want to share that I didn't ask?
Just that it's important to reach out to people, both elected officials, potentially elected officials, even down to the local level. And we've been engaged in some local races as well, city council and school board. And when I do meet with the potential candidates for school board, I said they need some work in this area and pay attention to it because it often gets pushed off onto the side. And getting some good responses. A potential city council member had told me that he wants to meet with us more often to talk about disability issues because it's not often addressed at the city council level, and it should be. That's kind of what we're doing. Our voice matters, right? And you let me do a lot of talking, don't you? But we're a team, aren't we? Are we a team?
Yeah.